Today we're going to be talking about something that I think is very important that we don't talk about enough here in Southwest Florida. So first of all, did you know that almost 30% of the population in Southwest Florida is over the age of 65 years old? So many of us know that the population of older folks, retired folks here in Southwest Florida is very high. Why is that? Because people want to get out of the cold. They don't want to deal with the ice and the snow. And I think there's a lot to be said for the fact that the warm weather does help a lot of things like creaky bones and arthritis. And, you know, sometimes you just want to spend your last 25, 35, maybe even 45 years in the sunshine, looking at water, enjoying life, playing pickleball. I don't blame you. That's how I want to live as well. But one of the things that happens very commonly here in Southwest Florida, more so than a lot of other places, and I know this happens everywhere. Okay, can we just say that? It does happen everywhere. But I tell you what, the scammers target Southwest Florida beyond belief, and that is because they are predatory and they try to take advantage of older folks that maybe are not as technologically savvy, and there's all kinds of ways that you can lose your money in Southwest Florida and in Florida as a whole. And again, I'm going to say it again for the back row. This is everywhere. So if you have a grandma or grandpa or mother or father that you want to look out for, maybe pass this video on to them as well, because this is going to apply to really pretty much everyone. All right, so today we're going to be talking about the scams that are out there and how to avoid getting scammed, because there's always new ones. And I hear it all the time. My mom is almost 80 years old. It's almost weekly. It's a near miss of getting scammed. Almost weekly. And I'll tell her, please, just if you don't know the phone number, don't answer the phone. Please don't call back a number that says this is the IRS. We need to hear from you immediately. Don't even do it out of curiosity, but she does it almost weekly. So guess what? They keep calling her. So anyway, we're going to talk about some of those things so that we can make sure that you don't get scammed. All right, before we jump into that, if this is the first time we're meeting, I want to introduce myself. My name is Barrett Pastor, and I've been a real estate broker for 26 years. So hopefully I am coming to you from a place of knowledge and experience, and I can help you navigate all things Florida. And if you're interested in having a one-on-one chat with me, we can do a Zoom call. Grab some time on my calendar. I will leave the link down below. All right, so inspired by my mother, the first one, do not answer the phone if you don't know who's calling you. If this phone number is not in your contact list, it's not one of your friends or family member or somebody you felt that you should put in your contact list, set a rule for yourself, by the way. If it's, maybe a business contact, maybe it's the HOA that you have to pay, whatever it is. If it's somebody that you know, put it in your contact list. That way you'll know that if somebody rings outside of that, just don't answer the phone. There's no reason to do it. Additionally, do not then call the number back out of curiosity to figure out who it was. If they text you and they say, please call back immediately, just know that it's probably a scam. And sometimes your phone will even set up something that says possible scam. Don't call those numbers back. Why? Because if you do, you might be calling a high toll, high fee number, and you don't even realize it. And they say, please hold, there's an important phone call for you, and you just sit there racking up a bill that you're going to have to pay. So don't call those numbers back. Make a rule for yourself that if it's somebody you want to talk to, make sure they're in your contact list. All right, number 2, if you're looking to rent somewhere, go through a reputable company. And I don't mean the website that rhymes with pillow, because anybody can put anything on there. Don't do that. You definitely need an agent or a property management company that is well known with a strong presence, even like VRBO or HomeAway or one of those. So let's say you go on VRBO and you find something you want to rent, and you reach out to the person representing the property and they say, yeah, you know what, we actually do have availability during the time, we just had a cancellation, let's talk offline, meaning I'm going to give you my personal number and that way I can save you 25% a month on this rental. Don't do that, because that's where you get scammed. And then VRBO, as the platform, they can't step in and help you in any way. So never, never, never go off platform. I'm not saying don't rent off one of those places like HomeAway or VRBO, but don't go off platform and give anyone money ever. If it's too good to be true, it is too good to be true. So if you find something in Naples, Florida, on the water, toes in the sand, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, luxury condominium, and most of those are going at $10,000 a month, and this one is $3,000 a month, and they tell you, oh, I had a cancellation and I'm just trying to fill it. No. No, 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 no. Maybe $500 off, maybe even $1,000 off. But if everything is going at $10,000 and this is $3,000, no. Too good to be true. If it's too good to be true, it really, truly is. Another scam is with golf carts. So you see that one a lot, where people will place these golf carts and I'm leaving Florida and I can't take this where I'm going, so I will sell this golf cart that normally is $7,000 for $1,500, but it's today only. Don't fall for that. You call, they tell you to lock it down, they're getting a lot of phone calls, you get excited about it, you send them the money by PayPal or Cash App, and you never see them again. All right, next one. Be very careful with the WhatsApp. Have you heard of that, WhatsApp? If you use that, I would not suggest communicating with anyone on that, because that's where there's lots of scams. It's just really, really hard to trace there. The other scam that's out there, and it happens a lot through WhatsApp, although it does happen online and by text, what will happen is when somebody's trying to steal your identity, they'll go on to an email, they'll type in your email, because maybe they have your email, because most people's emails are public, and then they'll say forgot password. And then if they have your phone number, that's going to be text to you. So what they'll do is they will then text you and say, I'm trying to help you recover your data. So if they're trying to steal your identity, they are then going to text you simultaneous to that and say, can you give me the code that was just sent to you? Someone is trying to break into your Google, which is actually them trying to break into your Google and all of everything else that you have, including your bank accounts. So it happened to me when I was trying to help a friend. They were going to sell a property and they wanted to do it for sale by owner. So I was helping them through it with Zillow and how to put it on there. And I was getting that exact thing. As I was trying to enter data, it was telling me you forgot your password, or if you don't send us this code within 30 seconds or within 1 minute, then we're going to erase your data. And then I send the code, but the code is actually because they went in and asked for the password. So as soon as I send that code, thinking that it's in relation to this whatever I was doing, so as soon as I send them the code, I think the code is so that I can complete what I'm doing, but the code is actually so they can steal my identity. There are people out there that pick those algorithms up, and if you put that code in, if you say, okay, here's my code, and you give it to them, all of a sudden, you're going to see, boom, your data's gone. You all know, because you're watching me on this YouTube channel, I know somebody that got their YouTube channel stolen that way. They got a text message that said, this is YouTube. We're going to be sending you a code. Please text us the code so we know you received it. We are verifying your channel. Well, guess what happened? That was identity theft, and they stole her channel. So her channel was completely gone at that point with absolutely no way to get it back. She reached out to YouTube and they said, no, you fell victim to a scam. We warn you of this. We can't do anything about it. So don't ever enter those codes like that. You have to be by text. Now, I'm not saying sometimes you do have to enter a code. When you're doing other things, sometimes you go into a website, if it's a website that you know and trust, then maybe you make the decision to do that. But in general, if somebody is asking you by text to send you a code, I would not do it. There is so much vacant lot fraud in Florida, it's unbelievable, because there's a lot of lots out there. So there's not a house. It's a lot easier for somebody that's doing something unscrupulous. So I get probably 2 to 3 of those a month. And the way that it works is I'll get a text message. I found you on the internet and I have a lot. This is the most recent one that I got. I have a lot on Marco Island. They give the address that I'd like to sell. Can you help me? So I respond back, sure, I'd love to help. Who is this that I'm speaking to? One of my first clues is I always know, because they will give me something like Morris J. Fletcher, exactly the way that it's spelled out on the tax record. Not the way you would normally speak, but the way you see it on tax record. Okay, now my eyes are open a little bit. So then I ask questions. I'll say, tell me a little bit about the lot. Is now a good time to talk? No, I'm in a business meeting. Sometimes they'll say, can you reach out to me on WhatsApp? Well, at that point, it's a scam, but let's say they don't. No, I'm in a business meeting. I'd like to get this on the market today. Can you send me a listing contract? All right, we haven't talked price. You don't know anything about me. You haven't asked me typical questions, so I know that this is a scam. But let's just say they asked all the right questions and I didn't realize it. What I do is I always run it through 2 places. One is a system we have called Forewarn, and it will give you somebody's background in their entire history. If they've ever jaywalked, you're going to know about it. And then also, we run a background check to make sure that the person is legit. I'll always say, and I always know because this is what runs them off. If you're in a meeting, I understand. Please know that since we've never met, we've never spoken, and there's a lot of fraud, not specific to you, of course, but there's a lot of fraud in vacant land here in Florida. So don't be offended, but we are going to ask you to fill out some paperwork, and we are going to need a copy of your driver's license, and we're going to be running your name through a system, and we will need to be able to verify that you are actually you. Now, usually they'll say, oh, that's not a problem. I'll send you a copy of my driver's license momentarily. So sometimes they do. Sometimes you never hear from them again and the phone number is blocked. But I have had many times where a driver's license comes over and I drop it in Google Images and it's so clearly fraud. So you really have to be careful with that. Anything that alludes to, as I said before, too good to be true, you have to decide today, this just came available today, it's your lucky day. No, it's not your lucky day. Trust me, it is not your lucky day. And then the last one, let's do one more. If somebody comes to your door, and this is one of the scams that's out there, especially after a storm. When a storm hits, expect this. So let's say a storm comes through, and if this is not a truck, if somebody comes to your door, first of all, if you're not expecting them, I would never answer the door. Just as a general rule, do not do it. But if you did it because you saw this landscaping truck out front and you know that you have 2 trees down from the tropical storm that came through, and they come to the door and they say, we have crews in the area and we'd be happy to come back and get those 2 trees down that are blocking your driveway. And you're all excited, oh my gosh, this is so wonderful. And they say, well, I tell you what, we'll be back in an hour with a crew to get those trees removed for you. We just need a $500 deposit. Do you have that? Can you hold, we need, you understand that we need for you to hold that because we're going to take crews from another location to help you. And you say, oh, okay, let me be right back. And you lock the door because you don't want them breaking in, and you go to your safe and you get $500 and you hand it to them. Guess what? They're gone. You're never going to see them again. And they're doing that in multiple different communities. Same thing with the roofers. The roofers will come back 2 or 3 times and ask for a deposit, and a lot of times people will give it to them, and it's much more substantial. I've seen people lose $3,000, $5,000, and upwards of that. So just because somebody has graphics all over their truck does not mean they're legitimate. A lot of times these companies come from out of state to make a quick buck, and they're on the road. You never see them again, and there's no way to track them down because you don't know who you gave the money to. Never do that. Never. If a company is legitimate, they're not going to ask you for money at your doorstep. So this really gets to me because so much of this is so avoidable. The big one for me, and I'm speaking to anybody out there that's any age, if you are thinking about moving to Florida, times are tough for people right now. Money is tight, rents are high. If you're somebody that's trying to move yourself, your wife, your 2 kids to Cape Coral, and you're looking online and you've been looking for months, and you're ready to make this move, and you have a job offer and you want to go, and you find this 3-bedroom, 2-bath home in Cape Coral, and it fits your budget. You can't believe it. You've been looking for months, and this fits your budget. So you drive in with your family. You go to look at this house. You meet somebody at the property. You love the house. You can't believe how beautiful the home is. And they say, okay, listen, I've got 10 other people. We just put this one up. You know, it's tough around here. I've got 10 other people looking at this. We're not even going to worry about credit. You give me a deposit today, $5,000. First one here with the deposit, that's who's going to get this house. And you go do that, you'll never see that person again. They'll take your money. They'll hand you a set of keys. They'll jump in their car. You're done. The keys are to nothing. So how did the people get in the house, you might ask? Well, they're squatters. Or they broke in, changed the lock themselves so that they can go in and out. Because keep in mind, that is why gated matters. Less likely for that to happen if an area is not gated, because it's just one extra layer of protection. But in somewhere like Cape Coral or any other place where, you know, you don't have those gated communities, if somebody is targeting a home and they know that nobody is ever there, or they know that that's a snowbird that only comes 2 months out of the year, that happens, and I see it on the news often. So please do not allow yourself to get taken advantage of.